Hey, what's going on? And welcome to another episode of Keep It Moving Podcast. Tonight's episode is being hosted by yours truly, Mike B. But I'm not alone. I know you guys sometimes be wishing, Mike, just do it by yourself. We know you can do it.
Go.
But I'm not going to do that to you. I'm not going to bless you like that. I do have my beautiful co-host with me, Novelty. Say something to the people.
Why you gotta be so arrogant, dude?
It's not about being arrogant. It's about being confident in your ability to talk shit.
Thin line between confidence and arrogance, and yeah, you are talking shit.
Unfortunately, our boy JT is not with us tonight. I know y'all feel like we probably did something to him. We probably pissed him off.
He quit.
But that's not the case. He's having some issues with his car, so he couldn't make it over here. I tried to get Novelty to stop by his house and pick him up, but you know she act funny. She be acting funny all the time, but we ain't going to hold that against her. We still allow her to be on the show, so thank God for that. With you being a young woman yourself, I wanted to talk to you real quick because I went to visit my grandmother. It's always interesting most of the time when I go over Granny house.
Yes.
And so she pulled out about 3 coin purses, and one of them was the zipper was broke. And so she's looking at me. She's like, I'm going to need you to get me, another one of these because, she showed me where the zipper was broke, and I'm looking at it thinking I could probably fix it. She said, no, you can't fix it because I've already tried. Now, she comparing her fixing to my fixing,
you can't fix
and she felt like I couldn't do it. I said, well, how about you combine the stuff from this coin purse to the you got 2 more right there.
A coin purse or a pocket?
What's the difference? It's like the small ones that you put your coins in. Like,
okay, there's a difference between that and a pocketbook or a purse.
Well, it's not a purse. It's a what was I calling it?
A coin purse.
Yes, a coin purse. It's just it's small enough for like change and like an ID and her casino cards. Okay. It's that small. But in my mind, it ain't nothing probably but like random papers and some change. You can put it in one of those other ones. And she said, don't try to tell me what I can do. I just need you to get me another one. Well. I said, okay. I got online. I found one and ordered it immediately because I didn't want to go through. She ain't about to shoot me. She ain't going to knife me. And she likes to keep a hammer by her front door. I'm not going through that. And so I go to the kitchen after I ordered this, and on the table is another damn coin purse.
But is it the same or are they different?
They're different, but they're all the same size and they all serve the same purpose. So it doesn't make any sense to me.
But you're a man. It doesn't make sense to you.
It's like, okay, I don't want to put my quarters in my blue because my quarters go in my red. No, they all got different chains. She might want to
match them up with what she's wearing.
They all in the same purse. She keeps these in her purse. She got
all
3
of them together.
Yes.
Oh well.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. I don't know. Maybe she got
each of them
change and papers. Like I'm sure
maybe she has her change for one machine in one bag. And change to play craps in another bag.
You know how random it is because anytime she's looking for anything, she has to get all of them out because she don't know where nothing is. That's why they're interchangeable in my mind. But not to her. She has a system. The system ain't working. And then when I saw that fresh one on the damn kitchen table, I said, you got one? And she said, quit searching around my house.
Well, like she said, just don't worry about what she's going to do.
I got her a little coin. It came in the mail the other day. I need to go and take it to her. I don't want those problems. But women are different.
Yes, we are. God made us that way, and you guys should be very happy we're different. That's
like the best way that I can, say it.
You all should be very happy we're different.
Right on. But speaking of grannies, you posted a video on the Keep It Moving Podcast Facebook page about that 70-year-old granny who went to jail for whooping her granddaughter with the switch.
I'm sorry, when I got out of jail, I whooped her again. I would have.
You know what? If I would have went to jail now. I think the lady said, they got into a little altercation because the granddaughter, I guess, finished her food and didn't want to throw her plate or her food away and then was giving her lip. And so the granny went outside, got a nice little switch, cleaned it off, and whooped her hands. Now, this is not uncommon to me. Like, that's what grannies used to do back in the day. They'd grab a switch.
And the police said
she should have hit her on the bottom.
What difference does it make where? I mean, as long as she didn't slap the child across the face with the switch.
Right, and then take an eye out or anything like that.
Right. She switched her. I mean, back in the day, the nuns would take a ruler and whap the kids on the hand.
Yeah. It ain't even really back in the day because some countries still do that.
This country still does that. Catholic nuns still whap they students on the hands. I mean, come on. We going too far. And that little girl decide tomorrow or next week that she want to go and step up to a cop and talk crazy to a cop, and then the cop is throwing her down the ground talking about, well, she disrespected me. Well, you put her little old grandma in jail.
Right, when her grandmother was trying to show her to respect your elders, to respect authority, but y'all tried to take it into your own hands. And then the grandmother said the granddaughter was like, hey, I want to call the police on you. She said, call them. Because I'm sure in her mind, she didn't think that they would side with the child. Understanding like the values that I'm trying to instill in her. But hey, times are changing.
I know one thing. If I'd have called the cops on my grandma, my mama and my daddy would have whipped my butt when they came and got me.
And it would have been one of those situations when I got out, you got to go. Like in order to, it's her granddaughter. I wonder what a mother was. I don't know if we knew that piece of information.
They didn't say. And maybe, mom or dad wasn't around, but then aunt, cousin, somebody else would have whipped my butt for putting my grandma in jail.
And I'm just saying, she just needs to leave my house. If I'm not her guardian and I'm not taking care of her, then she's not going to be here. I ain't going to accept no disrespect. You're not going to talk to me any kind of way. And you for damn sure ain't going to get me thrown in jail for trying to discipline you and show and teach you what's right and what's wrong. You can't talk to your grandparents or authorities any type of way. And I'm glad you mentioned, like, she's going to grow up and think she can talk to the cops any type of way. Because that reminds me of the McKinney, Texas officer who was just, the grand jury decided not to indict him on anything. But, it's times are so different nowadays where police are getting away with any and
they
everything.
Do what they want to do, but we got to live by these strict guidelines and we can't do nothing.
And it's not that it's just, strict guidelines. It's more so strict to us. We have to go the extra mile in order to try our best to seem docile and calm and, respectful when nobody else really has to do that. They can, get up in police officers' face, cuss them out. And I was talking to a friend the other day who actually went through almost like a profiling incident where she was sitting in front of a friend's house and they were just outside talking. It was late at night, but then a police officer rode by, saw that they were just out there. And about a couple minutes later, 3 police cars came and, wanted to know what they were doing out there, questioning them, wanting to see ID. And there was a gentleman there, her friend, and he's not being disrespectful, but he's asking the questions as to like, what in the hell is this all about? Why are we going through this? He volunteered to give them his ID and all of this information without them having to ask. So he's doing his part. He's going above and beyond, but she still felt like you shouldn't have been asking all those questions because we know the situation can turn at any moment. And there was one officer who was very, very rude, and he was like the first guy who called the other police officers for backup. He was very rude and indignant, and her friend just wanted to know what was going on. He got their badge numbers, and the other 2 officers acknowledged the fact that first officer was being a dick. And they were trying to be, overly apologetic at the situation, but they can't make him do anything. You know what I mean? And I understand her mindset. Like, don't escalate the situation if you don't have to. And I don't think that he was by asking the questions that he was asking. He just wanted to know why were we targeted? Like, why is it a problem for me to sit outside my house, have a conversation with my friends without it, with it being an issue? And he gonna say the neighbors called. The neighbors didn't call. You rolled by and you saw what was going on and you felt like you had reason to stop us, thinking something was going to be suspicious. That would piss me off. And that's what angers us because, again, we have to go above and beyond to prove without a shadow of a doubt that we're not a threat. We're supposed to be free. We're supposed to be equal. And this is the bullshit that we have to deal with. It's not right.
My question is, he got badge numbers. Now, what's he going to do with them?
Now, he told her what he was going to do with them, but I just don't remember the conversation. I was upset at the fact that they even had to go through this.
We shouldn't have to go through it. But the thing is, we're going to continue to go through it until we handle the situations the right way. And unfortunately,
What is the right way? What do you mean?
The right way is to go through the proper channels. Is to fight the fight by the rules that are set out in place.
But even when we do that, it's still not the same. I just told you about the Officer McKinney situation.
Right.
I mean, the Officer in McKinney, Texas.
But
where we got video proof.
Right. But we have to keep trying. We have to keep on trying to fight that good fight, because the moment we step out of line, then it just turns. Everybody turns on us and says, well, y'all were wrong because y'all did this. So unfortunately, until we can figure out how to change it, and let's be real, we going back hundreds of years here in this country. We've always been less than, always. Nothing's changed.
We've always been looked at as less than.
Well, of course.
Okay.
Nothing's changed, and it's the only reason we are as far as we are now is because people have fought the good fight. People have continued to fight in the courts. People have continued to get lawyers to fight for rights, to push for rights. And we will continue to have to do that. But every time we riot, every time we act a fool, every time we shoot each other, every time we do something negative, we take the whole thing a step back. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. My thing is, play the game until you can change the game.
Will there ever be a moment where we can change the game?
I hope so. I don't know if it'll be in our lifetime. Look at the past. That we've changed the game in several ways, just not in the mindset of people. And you can't change the mindset of people. And I'm sorry, racist mentality is going to be here. It'll be here forever. Racist mentality against black people is going to be here for a while. I mean, think about it. People who lived through whites only lines and the civil rights movement, these people are still alive.
Right.
They still feel that pain. They're still here until they are gone. And until those feelings are completely gone, we won't be able to move past it.
But will those feelings ever be completely gone, considering they are teaching their children well, I guess, children are actually being able to see that, these people aren't what you said they were. And they're not all bad, and maybe the mindset will change.
Slowly, we are. Slowly, if you look at the children of this generation, they see things a lot differently. A lot of them don't understand roots. That's why they reran it. They redid it because they didn't understand that. A lot of them don't feel the same pains. They don't understand not being able to go someplace and be looked down on because of the color of their skin. A lot of these kids don't feel that. A lot of these white children, the reason white privilege is so misunderstood by white people is because they truly don't see it. They feel like, oh, wow, everything is normal. So I think as time goes on, yes, small changes, but it just happens so small and at such a small rate. It won't be in our lifetime. It will not be in our lifetime. But the thing is, even once it does change, it doesn't mean they're not going to dislike somebody for something else. Mm-hmm. There's always going to be hatred, and there's always going to be some type of racism, sexism, sexualityism. There's always going to be some type of hate here because that's people.
That's just what we do.
Unfortunately, that's people. So we just got to keep fighting a good fight until we can make the changes. And I do believe fighting the fight the right way, because every time we get ignorant, that gets thrown in our face.
Well, let's switch gears for just a moment. Not too much, because I want to talk about the B.E.T. Music Awards and the Jessie Williams speech. That's, everybody's been talking about it. I felt like, did you watch the award show? Mm-mm. You didn't watch the B.E.T. Awards? Mm-mm. Because, do you have a reason? Like, you just not into award shows anymore, or you don't like B.E.T.?
I like B.E.T. It don't have anything to do with that.
I'm just making sure you ain't trying to be anti-black right now. And we just had this moment.
I mean, even when I was younger, I would watch the awards, but I preferred to be able to record them and then fast forward to the music.
Oh, you were just into the music.
Yeah, I really didn't care about the.
Well, I feel like they don't really do the awards. Like, you don't really see too much award giving at award shows anymore, especially ones that are centered around music, like the MTV Music Awards. They do give away some, but most of the time it's just performances.
Yeah, see, that's
and I feel like we got a lot of good performances on this particular one, and it felt like I truly enjoyed the entire thing. Like, and it's been a long time since I've enjoyed an award show.
I saw clips Oh my God, Sheila E.'s Prince tribute. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Jennifer Hudson and was it Stevie Wonder? She was with?
No, Stevie Wonder was with Tori Kelly.
Okay, I saw her, but they were like right before Jennifer Hudson, right?
Don't give me the line.
I think they were right before or something like that. So I saw both of those. No, I mean, they were really good. So I saw a few of the Prince tributes. Maxwell, did he do one?
Maxwell did do one.
Okay, yeah. So I saw that.
Bilal did one. Like him and Erykah Badu did one. She went first, and then he did. I don't even remember the Beautiful, a song called Beautiful. Okay, he did that, and like he pretty much embodied. Like everybody was talking about their performance. He did a really good job, and especially since a lot of people don't really know too much about Bilal. He's underrated, in my opinion. He did a really good job.
Yeah, so I saw a couple of the Prince tributes, and then the first thing I saw though was Jesse Williams' speech.
Okay.
I just happened to be scrolling through my Facebook, and I could tell it was the B.E.T. Awards because of what is she? What is her title? She's the president of B.E.T.
Beverly.
Yeah, I saw her give him the award.
Right.
And when I first heard it, I thought, okay, did he really get deep about some music? What is going on? Because I didn't see
the correlation.
What the award was for, anything. I was just like, okay, what's going on? And so I stopped and scrolled further and found the whole thing. And I was blown away.
It's this particular award show, and I believe I talked about this on when me and JT we recorded our podcast earlier in the week. But this particular award show it had a theme. I felt like it was almost like Black empowerment, because we started out with Beyonce, her performance, as well as Kendrick Lamar, and she did a performance of some song called Freedom, and they were doing the little tribal dance in the water. It was a really good performance. You should check that out. Kendrick Lamar, he's always been conscious and, you know, what people would call woke. So that was a really good thing. And then we get to Jesse Williams, who's talking about basically white privilege and how, you know, they try to appropriate our culture. It was, I felt empowered. You know, a lot of people had their issues with it. Not a lot of people, a lot of non-black people had issues with some of the things that he said, but I don't think there was anything wrong with where he was coming from, because he didn't lie. He didn't lie about anything that he said. And it was a couple of things that I wanted to point out that he mentioned during his speech. One of them being where he said, where are we? I'm sorry. He said, we've been looking at the data, and we know that police somehow manage to de-escalate, disarm, and not kill white people every day. So what's going to happen is we are going to have equal rights and justice in our own country, or we will restructure their function and ours. And I felt like, that needed to be said. Because we even every time we talk about police brutality, even though sometimes it does happen to white people and people of other minorities, not just black people, but it's amazing how they will mistake some tea or some Skittles for a weapon. But you can see a white person actually holding a weapon, but somehow they were met up with a police officer who knew his job and knew how to talk them down and end the situation without killing. But not in our case. And that's what doesn't make sense to most people.
We got to restructure.
He also says there's been no war that we have not fought and died on the front lines of. There's been no job we haven't done, no tax they haven't levied against us, and we've paid them all. But freedom is somehow always conditional here. You're free, they keep telling us, but she would have been alive if she hadn't acted so free. And I felt like that was a direct reference to Sandra Bland. Mm-hmm. He brought up, Tamir Rice. He brought up the Eric Garner situation. He brought up a lot of good points to kind of, get us to open our eyes to see what's going on. And it's not, I don't think it was like a direct hit to white people, because I think black people understand that not all white people act this way, feel this way, treat us this way, because we're not dumb. But for some reason, when the shoe is on the other foot, they can't look at us as if we're individuals. We're a people collectively, and we're all thugs. We all pose a problem. We're all a risk, and we all need to be dealt with. That's the issue.
Amen. I totally agree. My favorite thing was the last line. We may be magic, but that don't mean we're not real.
That was good.
I feel absolutely
like that was a great way to end what he was talking about.
I loved it. my only disappointment of that was when Justin Timberlake tweeted how in awe and how inspired he was. Someone of color, had to be of color, took it upon themselves to say, so are you going to stop appropriating our music? That was not the time for that discussion.
Right.
Number one, I can't say Justin Timberlake truly appropriates our music simply because we help him. If he wasn't working with black artists and black producers and he was just sitting there remaking what we were doing, that would be one thing. But he's working with black artists. So I kind of take a little, I'm not comfortable with that word for that particular situation. And then, like I said, it wasn't the time. That wasn't the time to have that particular conversation. Here you have a man not of color saying, I am inspired, I am in awe of what he is saying. And he's following Jesse Williams' lead, and you want to pull him back to the fight.
Yeah, remind him, we don't need you.
Right. And the reality is we are 13% of the country. We do need them. The ones that are trying to do the right thing and want to and understand and want to make change, we need them. So stop acting like we don't, just like they need us. You know, Donald Trump wants to make America great again, which truly I can only think of as white, because if you look back, I can't see. I mean, in the past, that's the only difference. The further you go back, the whiter America is. So unless you go all the way back, and then, well, it becomes pretty red. But if we have it his way, that white people can't sustain without black people. Black people can't sustain without white people. You look at all the things that black people have done for this country. You look at all the things that Mexican people have done for this country. All people, the mixture of people have created this great country.
Right. Greatly contributed to what we have.
Right. There. Every race, every color, every creed, every sex, everybody has contributed. And trying to do without the other is not possible, and not something we should want to do. We shouldn't even want to do that. We all live here. It's one world. Let's just figure out how to get along.
I like that. Let's just figure out how to get along.
I mean, just because you have something doesn't mean I'm less of something.
Right.
Just because you are somebody doesn't mean that
I'm not.
I'm not deserving of it. You know, this earth is big enough for all of us. Otherwise, quite frankly, I don't think God would have put us here.
Right on. Let's talk. I know you like to do the political talk, so we're gonna give you your shine. Can you talk a little bit about the Democratic sit-in? I know it was kind of, I don't want to say a rash decision to do the sit-in, but we know it was sparked from the Orlando, the massacre that happened in Orlando.
That is, and we know it's the best thing that's gone down in politics for me, probably since the Civil Rights Movement, and I wasn't there for that. So don't go with the age jokes.
Yeah, because you know you was there.
I was not there. But anyway, shortly after the Orlando situation, the Senate was to vote on some gun control bills that had come down. And really, the vote was just really about language initially, the language that should be in and out of a bill. And all the Republicans in the Senate voted no. Right before the vote, the NRA made it clear that if you vote for this bill, we will take away our support. So all the Republicans voted no, and the Democrats got upset. And they basically said, no, we're not going to do it, and no, we're not even going to have further discussions on it. So while our lovely little Speaker of the House was up there doing whatever it is he do, they stood up and started chanting. They didn't want to vote. That no vote. What was it? No vote. No work or something like that. They started chanting and they went forward. And so his way of trying to calm the situation down was to break for the holiday. So they all just began to randomly sit down. and just sat there and did not move. And they continued with their chant. Some of them had signs. Some of them had signs with the names of the Orlando victims on them, and they did not move. And I am so proud of my Congress, because they took a play out of the civil rights movement to boycott and just basically have a sit-in and demand that this bill be heard and the people be heard, because 90% of the people want gun control. 90% of America wants you to make changes on gun control, but you're not making these changes. Why?
Because they don't want to lose that NRA support.
Okay, so, but even though you don't want to lose the NRA support, what happens when you don't have a job? Because this isn't just, black people, Democrats, Republicans. We are talking about 90% of this country want something changed when it comes to gun control. And don't get me wrong, I want my gun. I don't want nobody to take my gun from me. Mm-hmm. And some gun control laws that they want to put on the books. We don't need like
AK-47s and, the automatic rifles that we see oftentimes during these massacres.
This is where it gets.
Are you about to try and...
No, I'm not going to
say you're in support of people being able to own those types of guns, military grade weapons.
No, that's not what I'm saying. This is where I get a little fuzzy. And I say that because the law, our constitutional right is to bear arms. Mm-hmm. And everybody wants to talk about what the forefathers meant when they wrote that. None of us there for that. Mm-hmm. So we can't say what they meant. Supreme Court's job is to try to interpret it the best they can, but they can't even say for sure. I can tell you, back in that day, we wanted freedom from a country. Okay? We wanted freedom from the Queen. Mm-hmm. So in order for us to be free from the Queen, we had to be able to bear arms. We also did not want a government that took control. That was the other thing they were fighting for. The reason we're set up this way, the way we are judicially, is so that our government can't take over too much. We needed to be able to overthrow the government if it was ever necessary. We as the people.
Do you think we as the people have that ability now?
No, I think we've lost a lot of abilities. Through government. I think we've lost a lot of abilities. But when you go back as far as what the Constitution was about,
right.
We have to admit this is what it was about.
And it made sense.
So, yeah, they wanted people to bear arms. Did they know there was going to be such thing as an AK-47? No. Heck, they had muskets. They had to do this.
Yeah. It took some time to actually,
And then of course not.
You had to prepare your weapon.
But do I think that they would have written something differently now? I don't know, because it was still about the people being able to control government. This country has always been at least the laws of this country have always been the people control the government.
It doesn't feel that way.
It doesn't feel that way because not enough of the people are trying to control the government. They just sit up and say they can't do anything about it. Mm-hmm. And then people who understand the law and understand how it's written and understand how the judicial system works, each and every part of it, they know how to play it. They learned how to play the game, and so they play it. Whereas everybody else, like I said, they're not trying to play the game. They're either not trying to play it or they're just constantly breaking the rules. Trump and all of the Koch brothers and all of this 1%, 2%ers, these people are playing the game by the rules. And guess what? They made the rules because they had enough money to get the people in government to create them for them. Mm-hmm. But we, the people, have not done our job. But that's because we just don't know. A lot of us don't know. So when it comes to gun control, I don't believe that people should be restricted. If you want to have 50 guns, you might be a gun collector. That don't mean you're doing something wrong with it. Mm-hmm. You should be able to have as many guns as you want. And if one of them's an AK-47,
I don't think I have a problem or an issue with the amount of guns you have. It's just the type of gun. If it's the same gun that we are providing to our military, I feel like you don't need it as just a school teacher. Unless you are in a school that is prone for mass shootings like we've seen before.
But see, and I don't necessarily care about the type of gun, but I do care about how people are getting the guns. You shouldn't be able to go to a gun show and get a gun without going through any kind of background checks.
Right.
If there's a history of mental issues, you shouldn't be able to easily get a gun.
Right. There should be extra paperwork you need to fill out.
Right. If you are on the no-fly list.
Right. And I think that's one of the issues, or one of the things they were going to be voting on.
Right.
If you're on the no-fly list, why are you able to buy a gun?
And here's the reason. Because if you're on the no-fly list, we live in a country, you're innocent until proven guilty. They haven't proven you guilty.
And they don't have to prove anything.
Right. So, but if you are on the no-fly list, you should have to wait to get a gun until you're off of it.
But is anybody actively trying to get people off of the no-fly, or are they just watching you?
If you're on the no-fly list, they watch you for a little while, and then eventually they pull you off. I think that was the thing with him. He was on the FBI's watch list, and then they pulled him off.
After a couple conversations with him.
Right, and then he got back on it for something else, and they pulled him off again. The government did not have enough to charge him with anything. There wasn't enough evidence there that he was going to do anything. The other thing is, when family starts to talk, we got to start listening, because there supposedly was all kind of evidence and all kind of conversations he had with other people that made them say, whoa, wait a minute, something's not right. And I know from experience dealing with someone who has mental issues, when they started acting funny, as a family member, when something's off, something's not all there. Mm-hmm. But when you go and you tell the doctors and you tell the therapist and you tell the police, all they say is, well, this is an adult. They have rights, and we have to follow those rights. So the gun laws have to change and be adjusted. But what happened in Orlando is not just about guns. And it's definitely not just about ISIS, if it's about ISIS at all.
You think it may be a cover-up?
I don't think it's a cover-up. The guy went into a gay nightclub. He had issues with gay people. He was one himself, and he shot up a bunch of people. I think this was a hate crime.
Oh, no, I can totally agree with that.
And then he not only mentioned ISIS, but he mentioned somebody else, and these two groups hated each other. But he was doing it in both of their names. I don't know if it was a cover-up. He talks about how, we're not going to bomb his country. But this man was an American citizen, born and raised here.
Who you talking about Trump right now?
No, I'm talking about...
I know you're talking about Omar Martin.
Oh, well, yeah, that was Trump's whole thing.
Yeah,
he's
that's what I'm
Afghan.
saying. Okay.
He's Afghan.
Right.
No, he was born and raised here.
Right.
And then, look at what's happened here. Not what's happening over in Bangladesh. Not what happened with these 20 people that we lost. Was it just this morning?
What happened this morning?
Or was it either this morning or yesterday? There was a hostage situation in a country, and please don't ask me to tell you what that country is, because I do not remember.
Okay.
But it was a hostage situation in a country ISIS has taken responsibility for. And 14 of the 20 people
were foreigners?
make it. No, they didn't make it.
Okay.
2 of them were Americans. But no, this was in another country.
Right.
But everything that's happening over in these other countries are people from ISIS coming in. But what's going on here
are American
citizens coming in and doing things and then saying, oh, well, ISIS. But these are American citizens. So to me, that says something to me right here. Let's stop focusing right now on ISIS, and find out why American citizens feel the need to do this to their own country.
Yeah. And so in support of ISIS.
Right. We are doing too much to our own people. Like we just talked about how black people are being mistreated. Not only black people, Muslims are being mistreated.
Right.
Mexicans are being mistreated.
Yep.
You cannot mistreat everybody and then turn around and sit there and go, well, what's going on, when they act out.
So it sounds like you are, saying America is the problem.
Hello? We have a major problem in this country. Mm-hmm. It's like a mom and a dad raising 5 kids, and all 5 kids being hellions. And then they wonder, well, what's wrong? What happened? Well, evidently somewhere in here, you had to not be doing a job because every last one of your kids came out the same way.
Exactly. Now, if it was one, then,
then maybe something was wrong with that one. But this is every last one of them. Every last ethnic group, anybody other than white men in this country is mistreated. And anybody other than white men are screaming and hollering. Even white women have to stand up and start screaming and hollering. They don't scream and holler as much as black people or Mexicans, but still they have to scream and holler after a certain point because nobody listens. Something's wrong. Something is innately wrong in this country. And in order to defeat ISIS, if that's what our goal truly is, in order to defeat ISIS, we got to fix the problem here because ISIS hasn't broken through. We have. They haven't come through our walls. We have.
And even before ISIS, we were still the problem.
Right. We were still the problem. We were still killing each other.
Right.
Before 9/11, we were killing each other. And lastly, I just want to make it clear, if Bush says one more, or Trump says one more time that Hillary Clinton or Obama started ISIS, George W. Bush himself says he regrets one of the regrets he has for going in on and attacking Iran and killing Saddam Hussein is because it was the beginning of ISIS. That's where it started. Nobody could have controlled that. Nobody would have known it was going to happen. Nobody knew that was coming. But it's just something we got to deal with right now. And we need to fix our problem so we can make sure they don't break through our walls.
I agree wholeheartedly. I agree wholeheartedly. And I had some other things that I wanted to talk about, but we're not going to talk about them. Not today. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you all so much for tuning in on this particular episode. Did you have any final thoughts?
Oh, just remember SCOTUS did give, they did rule on domestic abusers and guns, and they did make a change. This is actually one of the first things that has hit the right to bear arms. Mm-hmm. But they are saying if you are a domestic abuser, you should not have the right to bear arms.
So they're stripping that right?
They are making changes. This is just the beginning.
Okay. Now, has it gone into effect, or is it something that's on the table?
This is just, this is literally new. This is just a case they ruled on. The guy said he had the right to have a gun, and when they found he was an abuser, they said no, he didn't. So he lost his case.
Okay.
So this is a precedent for gun control. It's about to be one of the precedent laws. So
one step in the right direction.
Right. We getting there slowly but surely.
But America has to change America.
You doggone scared.
We got to fix America and quit. We are always in other countries' business, but we can't fix our shit.
Trump's hollering and screaming, "We need to be violent. We need to do this. We need to do that." And all I'm thinking is, wait a minute. This happened in Istanbul. And
about the bombing.
Last time I checked, they didn't call us and ask us for help. So until they make that call and say, hey, let's talk, we need to figure out something to do here, we don't have the right to do nothing. And he did that again. He did that when Obama was in Cuba. And something happened, was that Brussels? Where that situation went down? And Obama needs to come home. And why? That happened in another country. When that country asks for help, then he'll step in. We need to stop going in people's houses telling them what to do.
Because that's exactly, we're good at that.
Yeah, my neighbor come in my house telling me what to do. We got some issues.
But you can't really talk because you came in my house tonight trying to tell me what to do.
That was a suggestion.
It didn't sound suggestive.
That's a suggestion.
Anyway, thank you all so much for tuning in. That's all we got for you all tonight. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Peace.
Night.